Footballers Sunday Live.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Mike, from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Welcome into Sunday Live, everybody. Hope you are enjoying the Green Bay Packers, New York Giants in the London game. Thankfully, we did not have any, breaking news at 2 in the morning or whatever it was this past week. Saquon Barkley, is he back in the game?
Last I heard, he's back on the field, yep.
So we had, this the quick update on that game. Saquon Barkley went down pretty hard on his shoulder. That turf looks like it's unforgiving over there in London. Briefly left, went to the tent, went back in the locker room, but it sounds like he is back. We'll keep you updated if we hear anything for that. Welcome into Sunday Live, where we go over a lot of the breaking news, the start-sit questions. If you are just joining us for the first time, the way it works, I hit that news right at the beginning. Then I jump into some very popular start-sit questions. TheFantasyFootballers.com. That's where the rankings are. That's where they are being updated till kickoff. I was just, in my doc here, making sure everything's tight, everything is right, getting it, where I believe that it should be. And then we have a start-sit tool over on the website, Player X, Player Y. You pop them in. We let you know who we are starting based on our rankings. Then we give you a bunch of other cool information to help you make your own decision of which guy you would actually play. If you are a kind supporter of this podcast at jointhefoot.com, you get a bunch of really cool perks like an extra podcast every single week, all of our premium tools like the Stream Finder, which I use all the time. It is a very powerful tool to help you see, which matchups are going to be good coming up, and really get a look at the trends. But also if you support this podcast, 4-player, boom, 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 boom. 4-player starts it. I had to count those booms in my head, but I think we got there. I think we nailed that 4. I got a head shake from the back that has confirmed that I, in fact, hit 4 booms. But Start Sit tool, go check that out. Let's get into the news.
The big picture.
Do you have the score? I'm joined. Al Borland is my best friend today. Do you have the score in front of you, Al? Is it still 20?
20-20.
Still 20-20. All right.
I did see that Saquon came back in the game and ripped off a play for like 30 or 40 yards. So seems all right.
Of course he did.
Mike's playing against Saquon.
I'm playing against Saquon, and look, I want him to be healthy. Apparently he is. So I wished for his health too hard. Well, if you got Saquon, then you better be thanking the fantasy football gods that he was able to get back in there. He's good, man. He looks fantastic. All right, here is the big picture. Quarterbacks.
He just got a touchdown.
Okay.
We get to watch Mike live tilt here.
Okay. That's thank you. Hold all Saquon Barkley news to yourself.
10-4.
A touchdown?
Yep, 27-20.
Great. Very cool. All right, quarterback news. Compose myself. Mac Jones. Most players would be out for multiple weeks. He is out at least just this week. We'll see if he can make it back from the ankle sprain. Zappy. Pew, pew, zap, zap. It looks like he'll be playing for the Patriots. Good luck. Jameis Winston for the Saints will be out yet again. At the running back position, a little bit more positive news. David Montgomery is back for the Chicago Bears. What does that mean for David Montgomery? What does that mean for Khalil Herbert? Sorry, all I can give you on that one is the shrug face. If I had David Montgomery, I would be playing him. If I've been counting on Khalil Herbert because I have no better options behind him, I think it's still okay to put him in expecting like a flex type of a play from Khalil Herbert. We don't know what the timeshare is going to look like. How healthy is David Montgomery with Khalil Herbert being great for 2 weeks in a row for this new coaching staff? Do they say, all right, young man, you are in as well. You're going to be in a bigger timeshare with Montgomery. Those are questions that will be answered today. Alvin Kamara is back. I saw a bunch of beat reporters saying Alvin Kamara looks far more like himself. We got maybe Maybe we'll get some Super Camario action, and he will return. Does this just keep going?
Until you hit it again, it sure does.
Nope. We found the end point. So it sounds like Alvin Kamara is back. Let's hope that we can actually finally see Kamara have an impact for fantasy football this year. Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks, he was a bit banged up, but he will play, as will Rashad Penny, who was removed from the injury report. So if you were playing Penny, proceed as scheduled. Brian Robinson of the Washington Manders, the dude is back. He is going to play. Expect a snap count for him. His first game ever as a professional. Missed a whole bunch of training camp with the crazy, unfortunate carjacking situation, but he's back. Excellent to see. If I have Antonio Gibson and I were going to play him this week, this news does not change that for me. We were expecting to see Brian Robinson active. I'm not expecting a huge amount of touches for him, but they'll get him worked in. Just let him take a hit, let him give a hit. Like, know that you're okay, but I still expect Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick to be the main guys. Tony Pollard of the Cowboys. Okay. So we're just startling me with jump scares and Saquon Barkley returning to just annihilate my weekend right in the morning. This is great. Fantasy football is really fun, guys. Tony Pollard's going to play. Boston Scott, it remains questionable for the Philadelphia Eagles afternoon game. TBD. All right, at the wide receiver position, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, they are both in. In surprising news to me, Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions, he will be back. They have their bye week. It seemed like they were set up that let's get St. Brown truly healthy, but their record dictates that they need to win right now, so I get it. He is in. Josh Reynolds is in. Jacoby Myers will be playing. He doesn't have Mac Jones. He's got Zappy. Let's see if Jacoby Myers can say you got zapped. We'll see. He's interesting. I mean, when in those first couple games, monster target share for Jacoby Myers. So keep an eye on him. Maybe stash him on the end of your bench right now. Let's see. Josh Palmer will play for the Chargers. Zay Jones is returning for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Russell Gage will be playing, and it sounds like Julio Jones will not be playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we did get a report this morning. Evans, Godwin, good to go. Let's go. Let's go, Bucs. Let's get Tom Brady going. Let's get that fantasy football goodness that we expected from that offense, which can turn into Leonard Fournette, the dump truck. Let's get that feller moving. Get him in the end zone. CeeDee Lamb expected to play. He had that he missed a practice because of the groin, but he's expected to play. Rondale Moore expected to play. Who cares? Who cares, right? Rondale, make us care. T. Higgins is expected to play tonight. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. I mean, he played through it last week, got limited practices all week. There's no real concern that he won't go, but it absolutely is, just a variable should you be making a decision. Juju is questionable for Monday night. Traylon Burks, Jamison Crowder, we know that they were placed on the IR at the tight end position. Jonnu Smith will be out for the Patriots. Logan Thomas, who, that escalated so quickly from Jahan Dotson being out for the Manders to Logan Thomas maybe being a sneaky play at the tight end position. Then we got news later in that recording on Friday that he popped up on the injury report, and now he is out. Unfortunate, and Hayden Hurst is expected to play tonight. That's it for the news. Jeremy, has it absorbed all the information? Tremendous.
He's so hot right now.
Like I said, our start-sit tool is available now, thefantasyfootballers.com. If I don't touch on a player that you have a question about, I'm sorry. There's a bajillion players. These are the trending players. Who's hot right now?
All right, starting at the quarterback position. This one, I'm guessing maybe for 2 quarterback leagues, but a popular question on the website, Teddy Two Gloves
Sure.
or Carson Wentz?
Okay, I totally get that. So Teddy Bridgewater gets to take on the New York Jets. has, weapons at his disposal. The New York Jets are terrible. Carson Wentz, he's very interesting to me against the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunate to be down Jahan Dotson and now Logan Thomas as well. Man, what's difficult about this is I think Teddy Bridgewater is very safe to get you just some floor points, and the ceiling certainly exists when you have elite playmakers around you. Good things just happen when you can throw a bubble screen and that goes 80 yards, and you have now an 80-yard passing touchdown. That's very interesting. And Carson Wentz, we know what the floor is. The floor is sub 5 points at the quarterback position, which is brutal. I do not expect that to happen today. I like him against the Tennessee Titans. So this really comes down to, a floor ceiling. Looking at the game script, can the Jets put it on the Dolphins? Their defense has been exploitable, certainly, but can the Jets take advantage of that at home? That's TBD. Meanwhile, the Titans, I think we got a good game here against the Manders. So if you need the points, I'm going with Carson Wentz. If you're looking at your matchup, you're favored by 15 or so, I'm probably going to go with Teddy Bridgewater because of I don't think that Bridgewater will collapse this week. But he's a backup quarterback for a reason. Carson Wentz should be a backup quarterback, but he's not. He's a starter. What's next?
All right, staying at the quarterback position, Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff?
Ooh, okay. Kirk Cousins gets the Chicago Bears. The Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings are looking pretty good. Jared Goff, he does get Amon-Ra St. Brown back. It's on the road against the Patriots. Oh, man. Jared Goff is so incredibly difficult because he's Jared Goff. That's the starting point of the conversation. He's still Jared Goff, which is a competent quarterback, but he's Jared Goff, and it's the Lions, and it's you feel like at any point that this whole thing could just collapse. And the Lions are playing out of their minds, at least offensively. The defense is putting them in that position. But against the Patriots on the road, it feels so unsafe. Meanwhile, Cousins versus the Bears, that feels, like an incredibly safe matchup that could turn into a really big Dalvin Cook game. Between the two of them, I would go with Kirk Cousins. That's how my rankings have it. I don't feel super comfortable about that one because Jared Goff has been playing so incredibly well. But if it were my team and I had to make the decision, I would go with Kirk Cousins. Jefferson finally got going. Adam Thielen has been really involved the last couple of weeks, so I feel the momentum building for the Vikings. Who's next?
All right, moving over to wide receiver. I'm seeing a name all over the chat. I'm going to give you his name and two others, but you can also speak to just your overall confidence in starting Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins and Chris Olave are two names that I saw a few times.
I would start Kirk Cousins over Chris Olave. Did you mean?
I meant Amon-Ra or Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry. Christian Kirk. I apologize.
There we go.
Amon-Ra or Christian Kirk or Amon-Ra and Chris Olave.
Okay, I was like, I'll take the quarterback points over over the wide receiver. Okay, let's start with Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's pretty surprising that he is playing, but it's like the blanket statement, start your studs, I don't think is like, I don't subscribe to that 100% of the time, but I would play Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Patriots, I've just explained how it freaks me out for Jared Goff, but Amon-Ra, if he leaves this game without seeing 8 targets, you're going to be shocked, right? The guy's an absolute vacuum for the Detroit Lions. Swift is still out. Yes, Hawkinson had his big game, but TJ Hawkinson has a big game and then just vanishes for the rest of the season. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a truly incredible player. So if I have him, I am more than likely playing him. Now let's compare him to the other players. Christian Kirk, been a breath of fresh air for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He gets to take on the Houston Texans, where the Houston Texans right now, I'm trying to find this game line. So right now Jacksonville is favored by a touchdown. And we're looking at an over-under of 43.5. I mean, home favorites, favored by a touchdown. That's pretty nice for Christian Kirk. And then Chris Olave, you have Jarvis Landry is out as well against the Seattle Seahawks. I have Kirk and Olave just a couple spots apart. I think at the end of this, I'm going to go move Olave up over Christian Kirk. The guy has been, multiple double-digit target weeks. Yes, it's Andy Dalton, but that did not stop Olave from having a good game and getting into the end zone this past week. Man, having to decide between all three of those players is a very difficult proposition. If I have Olave and it's just the one spot, I'm letting the fact that Amon-Ra is just now coming back, I will let that break the tie. I think that Olave, it feels dangerous. Okay, like it feels dangerous to be this early in on the season, and you're like, we're already anointing Chris Olave as this level of a player. But watch him play. Go into the analytics. Go into the box score. Like, everything about Chris Olave screams this is a superstar, and it is happening. Yeah, he's playing with a backup quarterback, but he's playing with a backup quarterback in a just delicious matchup versus guy fresh off of injury against the Patriots on the road. So of those three, I'm going to go with Olave. Kirk or Amon-Ra St. Brown, oh, man. For those two, I think I would go Amon-Ra. That's a very, very difficult question, though, between those three guys. Who's next? Make it easier, please.
Sure, let's
Does Barkley have another touchdown?
Not that I've heard, but
cool.
The chat will let us know, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's got one coming up.
All right, let's go over to the running back position. A lot of questions coming in about Jeff Wilson. Would you start Dameon Pierce or Breece Hall over Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Ooh, okay. Breece Hall against the Dolphins, Jeff Wilson against the Carolina Panthers, and what was the other one?
Dameon Pierce at Jacksonville.
All right, so Dameon Pierce, okay, he's at the bottom of the list. Get it? 75-yard touchdown, that heals everything for fantasy football. He has that ability, not taking away from him. You know who's got that ability too is Breece Hall. Breece Hall could rip off that touchdown as well. He has the size and the speed. Yes, Pierce had some receptions last week. He was more involved, but the 7-point dog when Sexy Rexy Burkhead is still incredibly involved for that team, Pierce is at the bottom for me. Now, Breece Hall against the Dolphins or Jeff Wilson, that's tough. It's really hard for me to pivot away from Jeff Wilson, who, number one, looks very healthy. The 49ers look like back to their old self. They're an absolute machine, and they are playing the Carolina Panthers, who that 49ers defense versus that Carolina offense. Like I've got Christian McCaffrey. When you go into a week and you're looking at McCaffrey going, "Oh, that's not a great start." like that's a situation. That's where we are, that the 49ers are so good on defense that you're not benching McCaffrey. That's not what I'm saying, but you're looking at it going, well, I sure hope I get 10 points from Christian McCaffrey this week. And because of that, with that game script, Jeff Wilson is everything for the 49ers. I'm playing him over Breece. Michael Carter, the transition is happening for the Jets. I truly do believe that is happening. And Breece Hall is a great player. But I'll take all of the running back, everything. Not that there's a lot of targets, but the rushing attempts, the goal line, I will take all of that in a very plus matchup versus what Breece Hall has going on for this week.
All right, and let's close it down with the number 2 and number 3 most popular asked questions on our website, which are both revolving around Gerald Everett versus David Njoku and George Kittle.
Okay. Perfect. You know, when you're like, man, I'll start with my rankings, and my rankings go tight end 8, George Kittle, 9 Njoku, 10 is Gerald Everett. So they're just a nice tight cluster there, separated by a point. Keenan Allen still out for the Chargers, making Gerald Everett, the floor should be safe. The ceiling is great. Darren, or no, I'm sorry, not Darren Waller. George Kittle. You know, like, if I really had the option of, I got one of those other players on my bench because I've been, George Kittle was hurt. It's certainly possible that you have Njoku or Gerald Everett, and because you've been riding with those guys, and then you didn't want to drop them because you don't drop fully functional and usable fantasy tight ends for your opponents to pick up. Totally understand that strategy. It sucks, but I totally get it. Man, so I think I would put Kittle on the bench between those three. That's super dangerous because he is still George Kittle, and I believe in him moving forward. But David Njoku's involvement feels like the 2 weeks ago, that breakout, that was not a fluke. They went right back to him, and Gerald Everett has been pretty nice here for the Chargers. I'm going to go with David Njoku. He's my number one of those, then Gerald Everett, and then George Kittle. So I'll adjust my rankings over here, but that's razor-thin margins of them, but I feel the most confident in the volume for David Njoku. And then touchdown-wise, I feel more confident going after with Gerald Everett than George Kittle, so that's how I have them ranked. Is that all we got from the website?
That's what we got. Let's go to the people.
Stardom, sit 'em.
All right, let's see. Smitty was Brees or Jeff Wilson. We kind of ran through that. John wants to know James Robinson or Josh Jacobs in a full-point PPR. Okay, James. Whew. Josh Jacobs has been great. It's the first couple weeks there. Jacobs was still a good player, but he was getting the usage that we expected from Josh McDaniels, bringing that Patriots mentality down of we got to get all these specialty running backs in. The last couple of weeks, that has not been the case. The team has decided, made the action plan, and then executed with, we're going to go with this one guy because he's just our best player at the running back position. So Josh Jacobs getting true elite RB1 usage right now. James Robinson, real crappy performance this past week, which he's going to have those. James Robinson is not invincible from a bad game script. He's not invincible from having a bad game where it felt like that when ETN was not around. But against the Houston Texans, I feel James Robinson is in a tremendous position. One of us had him as a start of the week. I think he's going to be great. Josh Jacobs against the Kansas City Chiefs. You can chase the upside of the points there for the matchup, but I'm going to go with James Robinson if I'm having to pick between those two guys. The next question is from Louis. Says, in a PPR, would you go with Brandon Ayuk or Kareem Hunt? I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt here, he's going to catch a few passes, so the PPR is not like, doesn't just skew everything real heavy for the wide receiver here. His workload has been so reliable. Like he's going to see 13 to 15 opportunities, probably see an opportunity near the goal line because he has essentially every week. Hasn't converted since week 1, but the work and the volume is still coming in that high value touch area. Couple receptions here or there. It's always it always is scary playing Kareem Hunt because you can check in the third quarter and he just has nothing. You're like, why aren't they using Kareem Hunt? They will. It balances out. Not superstar work, but enough. So between those two, I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. Next question is from Kyle, who says Singletary or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Half point. Whoo! So Singletary in that potential blowout. I mean, I'm not the one who's saying it's going to be a blowout. The sportsbook who said that the Buffalo Bills are favored by 2 touchdowns, they're the ones who are saying it's going to be a blowout, which could be more work for Singletary. Again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, superstar, but banged up. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to go with Singletary there. Ugh, I don't feel confident about that one, but that if it were my team, that's how I would do things. How are we on time? We're doing okay. We're about to hit up at the clock. Ryan wants to know Monty or Ramondre. Wow. Okay, so starter 1B, great matchup for the 1B. Not so much for Monty, but I'm gonna chase the work here of the Chicago Bears. See if they go right back to Montgomery as the bell cow. And let's see, trying to take a couple more. Start Zappy, says Steve. No, why would you do that, man? Samuel, in a PPP, I guess we're talking about loans here. Mike Williams or Jalen Waddle? I would go with crap. That's a really difficult question. I would go with Jalen Waddle. Even off of the bad game where he was hobbled. Man. Nope. Flip that. I'm going to go with Mike Williams. I'm going to let Jalen Waddle prove to me that he's actually healthy on the field while Keenan Allen still remains out for the Chargers. I'm going to get big Mike Willie in there. We got Brendan wants to know Hawkinson or Higbee. It's Higbee to me all day. Just take those PPR points. Tyler Higbee will eventually score a touchdown, I think. I mean, based off of averages and how much work he's actually getting, he's got to get into the end zone. He's probably due for 2 touchdowns. Someone says, Fats Melez says, Elijah Moore or Khalil Shakir of the Buffalo Bills with Isaiah McKenzie being out. I would go with Elijah Moore. I'm going to take the known talented starter, and then we'll get out of here on this one. Let's see. Sorry, my thing is being crazy. We got Dustin wants to know the Muth or David Njoku. Perfection, because this one's an easy one for me. I'm going with David Njoku. The Muth should be the safety valve for Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh, whatever, Kenny P. I don't know, whatever we're going to call him in the end. But Njoku is just too good, too involved right now. And he's not playing on the road against the Buffalo Bills with a rookie quarterback. Bail out of those Pittsburgh situations if you can today. That's going to do it, everybody. Again, thefantasyfootballers.com. If you want to get in with all of our rankings, I wish you nothing but the best and your enemies nothing but the worst. And remember to keep it beautiful. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.